Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you for joining me. Happy Friday to the viewing audience. Please be safe. Bundle up. Be safe on your travels this weekend. Football games, set places. The topic for this live is pertaining to Debbie Collier. There has been a ruling in her death. And I'm going to read you the set information with the source. Thank you for joining me. NowHabersham.com is the source. Debbie Collier's death ruled suicide. Local law enforcement officials met with members of Debbie Collier's family today. The meeting came one day after the state medical examiner's office released its findings that the Athens woman's death was a suicide. Autopsy's results revealed Collier died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication, says Habersham County Deputy Coroner Ken Franklin. On September 11th, law enforcement found Collier's partially nude and burned body in the woods near Tallulah Falls in North Habersham County. Evidence indicates her shirt had been burned from her body. Franklin says the autopsy results are consistent with what he saw at the scene. It's pretty evident that she started the fire. From what I saw and what I consider to be the case is that this was a self-inflicted death, but I was relying on the results of the autopsy and the doctor at the lab to make the final call, Franklin says. An arson analyst confirmed the presence of gasoline on Collier's clothes. Her injuries were consistent with those of someone caught in a flash fire, possibly caused by gasoline vapors igniting. Collier, who suffered from back problems, took medication for her pain, her daughter says. In an interview on the podcast Crime on the Record, before the autopsy results were released publicly, Amanda Bearden indicated she believes her mother killed herself. Reflecting on the days leading up to Collier's death, Bearden says her mother had shared with her some key intimate things and was giving away things. Looking back on it, it just almost seemed like she was giving me all of her things, Bearden said. The last time she saw her mother alive, Bearden said Collier had tears in her eyes. I'd never seen her that sad. Amanda Bearden has been under intense scrutiny since the investigation into her mother's death began. Much has been made in the media of her history of substance abuse and her volatile relationship with her boyfriend. Adding to that scrutiny was the cryptic message and money Bearden received the day before her mother was found dead. At 3:17 p.m. on September 10th, Bearden received $23.85 from her mom through the payment app Venmo. Attached was a cryptic message that read, "They're not going to let me go. Love you. There is a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." That message fueled speculation that Collier was murdered within days of finding her body. Oh, mercy. Jumped off. Sorry about that, you guys. Sensitive screen. 1 second. 1 second. As I was saying, Amanda has been under intense scrutiny since the investigation into her mother's death began. Much has been in the media of her history of substance abuse and the volatile relationship with the boyfriend. Adding to that scrutiny, once again, the cryptic message and money Bearden received the day before her mother was found dead. 3:17, $23.85 was in a message via the Venmo. "They're not going to let me go. Love you. There's a key to the house in the blue flower plot by the door." That message fueled speculation that Collier was murdered. Within days of finding her body, the Habersham County Sheriff's Office announced it was treating Collier's death as a homicide. During the one press conference the agency held over the course of the investigation, Chief Deputy Murray Kogod cautioned it would take time to solve this crime. Collier's son, Jeffrey Bearden, has been highly critical of how local investigators and Habersham County Sheriff Joey Terrell have handled this case. On October 27th, he filed a formal complaint against Terrell with the sheriff's office over Terrell's response to his concerns about leaks in the case. When I expressed my frustration at the way in which information is shared by their office, Sheriff Terrell found it appropriate to snicker and laugh at my situation, Bearden wrote. I asked politely for him to stop. I pushed further again on the leaks and what corrective actions that could be taken, and Sheriff Terrell then decided it would be best to best to threaten to hang up on me. Terrell refused to comment on Bearden's claims, while Sheriff Terrell has gone on the record stating where he believes the leaks are coming from and that his investigators have been unfairly portrayed in the media. Terrell failed to mention that he has been publicly identified as the source of some of those leaks. Several social media posts identified the sheriff as the source of information that only investigators could have known. In one such post dated October 15, Terrell is alleged to have told a member of the public that Collier attempted to start a fire after taking multiple depression pills, and the fire ended up blowing up on her. While that is what the findings suggest, the sheriff's office still has not publicly said so. In his complaint, Jeffrey Bearden stated, "I no longer feel confident in this investigation or HCSO's ability to manage or adequately investigate my mother's death." He asked if the case could be transferred to another agency. His request and complaint went nowhere. In response to now Habersham's open records request, seeking a copy of the complaint, the sheriff's office initially refused to release it. Sheriff's office records clerk Shelby Jardine responded that since the sheriff is a constitutional officer and not an employee of the sheriff's office, he is not bound by the same complaint procedures as others within the agency. After pointing out the complaint itself was a public document, the sheriff's office released it. Prior to the release of his mother's autopsy report, Bearden said he might hire an investigator to look into her case. He says he also reached out to several other elected officials to advance his complaint against the sheriff. Now Habersham reached out to Bearden after the autopsy report was made public. He has not returned our call. Closure. Despite her brother's concerns about how the investigation was handled, Amanda Bearden praised Habersham County investigators for their efforts. In her podcast interview, Amanda Bearden especially called out lead investigator George Kaysen for taking her mother's passing seriously. He was fired up. He genuinely acted like this was his mother out there, she said, adding, the criticism that law enforcement has been given, it hasn't been from me. Now Habersham reached out to Sheriff Terrell and Chief Deputy Kogod for an update on the investigation Thursday. Only Kogod responded stating, we do not have anything to release at this time. As of Friday afternoon, November 18th, the sheriff's office had still not released any updated information on the case, despite the release of the autopsy report and meeting with the family. In fact, the Habersham County Sheriff's Office has not released any official information or updates on this investigation since the press conference on September 30th, where Kogod said the act was personal and targeted, and Sheriff Terrell has yet to address the community publicly. The coroner says he has spoken with the family members to inform them of the medical examiner's ruling. And while there remain many unanswered questions, the biggest as to how Debbie Collier died has been answered. I'm glad it's over, but I'm sorry for the family and all that they have had to go through. All of the questioning, suspicion, and things they had to go through made it difficult for them to live a normal life, Franklin says. I feel sorry for them, and my prayers go with them. If you need verification for this information that I've brought to you, nowhabersham.com is the source. 1 second while I re-edit this title. Thank you all so much. Hope you all are well out there. Happy Friday to everybody. Woo, what an article. So no release of information to the public, which is interesting because you would think after all this time, Habersham would kindly tell the public what happened. You also hear that the sheriff is the one that released information about her starting a fire, Debbie Collier. So he tried to make excuses about how the information got out, which was weird because he said, oh, we're short-staffed. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with somebody running their mouth and telling anything about the case to a reporter. What does that have to do with you being short-staffed? Somebody ran their mouth. Well, the news is now saying you did it, Sheriff. You ran your mouth. So why would you do that? So basically, you lied to the son. Even though he's a bit delusional, he doesn't want to accept the fact that his mother killed herself. But that's neither here nor there. You should have just owned up. Yes, I said this to this person. That would be the end of it. Now, I won't doubt he would probably get a lawyer and probably try to sue you because, we're in the age of people suing one another. Let's talk about the findings in the medical examiner's report. Let's go over what they said happened to Miss Collier. Mercy, what a mess. It's a long article. Once again, Habersham.com is the source. I couldn't find a news clipping as of yet of the matter of death. So this is an article by the paper. The state medical examiners released its findings that the Athens woman's death is a suicide. Results revealed that Collier died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication, says Habersham County Deputy Coroner Ken Franklin. So her autopsy was done by the state medical examiner, and the coroner, Habersham County Deputy Coroner Ken Franklin, has revealed these results to the public. Thermal burns consist of burns due to external heat sources, which raise the temperature of the skin and tissues and cause tissue cell death or charring. Hot metals, scalding liquids, steam, and flames, when coming in contact with the skin, can cause thermal burns. What causes thermal injury? Thermal injuries are caused by direct contact heat, such as a flame, hot surface, including electrocution burns or hot liquid, radiant heat, e.g. at dog lying close to but not touching a wood-burning stove, microwave radiation in a microwave oven. Okay, what is the risk of a thermal injury? Burns often result from hot liquid, steam, flame, or flash, and electrical injury. Risk factors for thermal burns include young age. Children often come into contact with hot liquids. Male gender. Males are also at high risk of burn injuries, chiefly due to occupational related injuries. How can thermal injuries be prevented? Number 1, reduce water temperature. 2, avoid hot spills. 3, establish no zones. 4, keep hot devices out of reach. 5, test food temperature before feeding young children. 6, choose a cool mist vaporizer. 7, address outlets and electrical cords. 8, choose fire-resistant fabrics. So that's possibly why her jersey didn't burn fully, because she had on a jersey, bulldog jersey, and I believe that was partially burned. I did not hear that it had burned. The entire jersey had burned. So maybe that's the reason why her whole body wasn't burned. What was Debbie Collier doing in the middle of the woods, an hour and a half away from home? If we're to believe that she's on oxy, whatever, pills, the daughter says she took them for her back. Has she been abusing the pills, taking more than she was supposed to take? So you have to ask all those questions. 1, was she an avid, active user before death? 2, why did she go way up there to eat, shop at the dollar store, and then go into the woods? Did she deliberately kill herself? The items that were found were traced to that dollar store. For those of you who have been trying to figure out why and how they found her at the dollar store, her daughter believes that is her on the camera. The son does not. The son has an issue with the sheriff's department. That's a personal issue. I'd like to say I'm going to apologize to Miss Bearden, because I did say some very ugly things about her, only because of the information that was released to the public about her and her boyfriend's problems, the drug use, and the fact that he claimed that she would steal from him, taking money out of her bank account. So when this shit happened with the mother, she was a likely suspect to me, because what are the odds? You just touched down. The next day, your mother goes missing, and then the day after that, she's found dead in the middle of the woods. Now, I'm praying that they got this right, this matter of death. Some of you probably going to still think that there's somebody else out there. There's some other phantom. You've thrown out stuff about rehab and all that. I don't do all that hopscotch shit jumping around. I stick to what they say. But they said something that they had to retract, which is a problem for me. And it's not to say that law enforcement can't get it wrong, can't point the finger at the wrong person. But one thing they didn't do They didn't name a suspect. Thank God they didn't, because now these people could sue them for naming them and they're not the culprit, if we're to believe they got it right this time. So did they get it right? So what was she doing out there? Because even if she was trying to kill herself, killed herself, how? The pills, she took an overdose of pills. It said intoxication in this finding. So that leads me to say, well, she popped a bunch of pills. But then what does that have to do with the fire? And it also, I brought you content that said there was no burning fire out there. So I might have believed that she popped a bunch of pills to kill herself and then did what? Set her jersey on fire, set the paper towels on fire around her. I'm confused. And a lot of people don't want to accept that a person would kill themselves by fire, but we have heard of people who have strapped bombs to themselves, and you hear a lot of this going on in third world countries such as Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. Women are known to put bombs on themselves. Men are known to put bombs on themselves, their children. They're also known to set themselves ablaze. It's hard for somebody to see, one, a woman doing it, two, an American doing it. But this is what they're saying. I'm not here to argue it because I don't want to go back and forth about Debbie Collier's death, because it's a moot point at this junction, this part of the road. It's where can you take it now? To now argue now that it wasn't a suicide. So I'm not here to argue either points. I'm just here to bring you the information. If you have a problem with the findings, please contact the Georgia State Medical Examiner, not the Queen. Thank you very much. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Beganji, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during this live stream. Thank you all so very much. Let's continue talking about this thermal injury. What is death by thermal injury? Thermal burns result from an external heat source, flame, hot liquids, heated solid objects, or hot gases. Fire-related deaths may also result from inhalation of carbon monoxide and other toxic products of combustion, including cyanide. This was written October 18, 2016. The more I read, the worse this gets. What is inhalation in thermal injuries? Once again, inhalation injuries are acute injuries to your respiratory system and lungs. They can happen if you breathe in toxic substances, such as smoke from fires, chemicals, particle pollution, and gases. Inhalation injuries can also be caused by extreme heat. These are a type of thermal injuries. How long does the thermal injury last? The thermal injury definition of a second-degree burn is one that partially damages the nerve endings and leave thickness burns. These burns may appear more advanced, but they can heal within 10 to 15 days based on average healing times. Which item can cause a heat burn? A heat-induced burn, thermal burn, can occur when the skin comes in contact with any heat source. This might be from a cooking pan, an iron, a fire, hot surface, or a hot scalding liquid or gas. Which injury causes sudden death? So, injury to medulla oblongata can cause, I don't even know what the hell it is, can cause sudden death because of hindrance in heart beating and breathing. What injuries lead to death? Poisoning, motor vehicle falls account for over 86% of all preventable deaths. No other preventable cause of death, including suffocation, drowning, fire, and burns, and natural or environmental disasters, accounts for more than 5% of the total. So the top 3 deaths that are preventable, it says the top 3 leading causes of preventable injury related to death is poisoning, motor vehicle, and falls, 86%. Suffocation, drowning, fire, and burns, and natural or environmental disasters accounts for more than 5% of the total. So this is possibly a rare occurrence. What is a thermal wound? Thermal burns. These burns are due to heat sources. which raise the temperature of the skin and tissues and cause tissue cell death or charring. Hot metals, scalding liquids, steam, flames, when coming into contact with the skin, can cause thermal burns. Once again, inhalation injuries. Definition: inhalation injury is a non-specific term that refers to damage to the respiratory tract or lung tissue from heat, smoke, chemical irritants carried into the airway during inspiration. The term is often used synonymously with smoke inhalation injury. This was uploaded January 10th, 2022. I'm going to take a brief intermission. I will be right back with the following findings. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right, the Queen has returned. Let's drop the link. Is there anybody in the chat that would like to give their opinion pertaining to this finding of Debbie Collier? Yeah, it's crazy. I think crazy is putting it mildly. This is I really don't know what to say. Because I'm trying to understand traveling an hour and a half up the road, abusing the oxycodone. So how did it get from one to the other? Driving an hour and a half away, going out in the woods to play around with paper towels and a tarp and a bag and a lighter, which would make a person think you were either out there trying to get high, or you were disoriented, or some type of mental illness, or you went to kill yourself. Take your pick. Child of God, well, she possibly was alone. She possibly was alone. That's usually why people kill themselves, because they feel alone. There's no logical reason to kill yourself, but people do all the time. You'd be surprised the reasons that people kill themselves: because they're caught in a crime, fraud, they know they're going to go to jail or get life in prison. They've murdered somebody, they know they're going to get life, or they don't want to do jail time. Many people kill themselves because they didn't want to go to jail, which kind of defeats the purpose of, well, then why did you commit the crime? You should know they're going to come look for you. So what you're going to kill yourself for? But many people have killed themselves for, as I said, various reasons. I do believe she was depressed. You hear that her daughter said she was crying, giving away things, intimate things she told her. So what did Debbie Collier tell Amanda before she went on this journey up the highway? What did she tell? Will Amanda reveal what her mother said? I don't believe her and her brother are on good terms right now. She's not on good terms with certain family members, but she did speak highly of her stepfather. So will the stepfather now come forward and speak about the death of his wife? Will any other relatives now come forward and speak on the death of Debbie Collier? Who's going to tell the truth about what the hell was going on with Debbie Collier? That she was popping pills, she was on drugs, she was suicidal, she was depressed. Who is going to tell the truth? Because I find it strange. She has this vibrant personality to others, yet she's now dead. Ruled a suicide. So was she walking around in clown makeup pretending to be happy, but deep down inside she was very, very depressed and suicidal? Who knows the truth about Debbie Collier? You hear Amanda going on in that interview. I know my mom. I know my mom. Well, if you knew your mother, you would know she's going to kill herself. Maybe you should have sought help for your mother. Hey, mom, you don't look well. You don't sound well. You need to go see a psychiatrist, a counselor. What's the matter? So let's go there. When was the last time Amanda talked to her mother before she moved back to Georgia? And when did the son last talk to the mother? Did these people really have a good relationship with their mother? Now, you know that in one article I brought you, the brother says, I don't think my sister killed my mama, but I don't care for her friends she hangs with. And I'm sure there's some of you who still believe this is a murder. Somebody followed her, made her go out there, crossed paths with her out there. Queen ain't trying to go out there no more. I'm done with all that. Because at this point, we'll just be talking in circles about the whodunit. And they're not ruling it a whodunit now. It says suicide. I'm just going to ride on that until something else comes about. If nothing else comes about, then that's the finding. But the one thing that's strange in the story, besides the obvious stuff we've been told, she had a gas accelerant on her clothes. So that means Debbie Collier doused herself with gasoline. This is from a fire expert. Why would she douse herself with gasoline? That would lead me to think, hell yeah, she wanted to kill herself. Who does that? Who puts gasoline on her own damn clothes? And you know she bought a lighter from the Dollar General. So it does seem orchestrated. Because I've told you, if I'm going to kidnap a person, carjack them, I don't need to take nothing out of their car to kill them. For what? I have no reason to take shit out of your car. You just went to the dollar store. So I'm getting ready to, I've carjacked you, make you get out of the car. And then I'm going to say, oh, I see you've been shopping at the Dollar General. Hey, let's just take this stuff with us because I'm going to kill you and I'm going to take this stuff with you. No. No. I don't believe that because it makes no logical sense. And that's not something a killer is going to be thinking about. Stuff in a bag from the Dollar General store. Why would he or her want to take the stuff out to kill the victim? Makes no sense. Well, April, that's what we're saying. But as my friend just said, when people are sick, you don't know what they will do or how they're thinking. So we don't know Debbie Collier. We don't know her mindset. It's easy to judge and say, well, I wouldn't kill myself like that. Well, you're not thinking about killing yourself, period. So you don't know how she was thinking. It just seems odd, an odd way and a cruel way to die. But my thing is killing yourself is cruel anyway, no matter how you go. Whether you take pills, whether you shoot yourself. Because guess what? There's a chance you might live. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you for the sticker, sweetheart. You might live and try to kill yourself. Many people have survived suicide. And how angry they were when they woke up and realized, damn, I'm still here. I did all that for nothing. Now imagine you've injured yourself facially. You're still breathing, but you shot off half of your damn face, ear, but you're still here. Very scary. State medical examiner has ruled Debbie Collier's death a suicide. For those just now coming into the viewing chat, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to give your opinion pertaining to Debbie Collier's death, hit the link. Come on up and give your opinion. And if you had pills, why light yourself on fire? I don't know. I don't buy it. Soggy bread. Hit the link, April. You've been coming in this chat over a week now. Come on up here and talk to the queen. Oh, Lord. I see I got Florida in the house.
Wow.
Oh, y'all love you. Flew up here, didn't you? What's going on?
Well, you're good. I'm telling you that you remember where I'm from. God bless you.
I know you're from Florida. I know you're from Florida. Come on with it, honey. Tell me what's up.
Well, this is obviously, like you said, whatever they come out with and say, we have to accept. You know, more importantly, the family has to accept it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, because women can be dramatic. I wonder if she went there to start a fire, and then taking
No
the
fire, no fire,
no
no fire,
fire, no,
no
no,
fire. They said no fire was burning, no fire.
no fire was burning, but at some
Hmm.
point she was burned.
Yes,
So
and that's what doesn't make any sense. How
no,
did the fire start? Because they said she had a accelerant on her clothes, but yet there was no wood burning fire. So that means she was setting herself on fire.
well, my impression was this: that somehow she might have had some type of source to start a fire. I don't know,
I think
but
it's the stuff she took from the dollar store. You
but
remember the stuff she bought at the dollar store?
yes,
I think she
yes,
deliberately bought those items to start the fire. That means she
yes,
pre-planned this entire trip.
yes,
The trip to the Dollar
yes,
General, those things she bought were all flammable. The tarp,
yes.
the bag, the paper towels.
But what I'm thinking is, if she took the hydrocodone, she might have gotten very weak on her feet,
Oh,
delirious.
yeah.
She might have fallen into the fire at that point. It I that's just
But
what I
she set herself, but listen, sweetheart, she put an accelerant on her clothes. So that shows it can't be too much of an accident, because why am I going to put gasoline on my clothes without lighting myself up?
because if she fell into whatever the source was of the fire, it had accelerant in there, and it would have gotten on her clothes.
You don't believe that she set herself on fire, man, with the
No, I
lighter?
think it was this is far fetched, but I think maybe it was a show of a suicide attempt that went horribly wrong.
So you don't think she went up there to kill herself?
I think she wanted to look like she was going to hurt herself. Her family couldn't find her, but then,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Well, I have mentioned that theory before.
That's the only thing I can think of. Obviously, it means nothing. It's
So,
just
but you can't in your right mind say maybe she just didn't want to live, and this was her way of killing herself.
But why not take pills and some wine?
I don't want to. I don't want to do it that way.
I know. It's hard to, like you said, it's hard to wrap yourself around the mind of someone who was in so much pain. You're right.
Yeah.
It's just that as human beings, we cannot accept that. Women especially choose a more peaceful way of suicide. Men will use guns.
Okay.
Women will, fill a bathtub and cut
Okay.
their. You know
Let
what
me
I
read
mean?
this to you. Let me read this to you, because I'm going down the list of things pertaining to thermal injuries. Sepsis is the leading cause of death after burn injury. Multiple antibiotic-resistant bacteria now account for the bulk of deaths due to sepsis. Further improvement in survival may require improved strategies to deal with this problem. Let's talk about chemical burns. Common causes of chemical burns include the following: acid, sulfuric, nitric, hydrofluoric, hydrochloric, acetic acid, formic, phosphorus, phenols, and chloroacetic acid. See, the list just goes on and on.
Yes. Like I said, my impression is that she staged something that went too far, just way too far, and she was a victim of her own plan. And another thing, Queen, that's not really been explored. Why did her son block her? I'm sure he loved his mother. And
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I just decided not to mention that.
You pardon?
Where are you getting that from?
Oh my gosh, it's been on a few podcasts.
Yeah, but
reputable podcasts.
What did I say? Who said it?
Well, we have the evidence that the text never went through.
Okay, but that could be anything. That could be data. That could be a glitch in the phone.
I don't know, Queen. I tend to think that there was a reason why.
And why am I? Slow down. Why am I going to send a text to somebody that I know has blocked me?
Well, because a mother's unconditional love. You do it anyway. If they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. But I'm going to tell my son I love him. It's his mother.
So you say if he decided to open the phone up, then he'll see that his mother sent him a text.
If he decides to unblock her, and I'm sure he did after he heard what happened, he probably did unblock her. Mm-hmm. But another theory I have is that maybe he was not happy with the way his mother and his sister.
Yeah, I could see that she's left because they did not live together. Let me make this clear in the chat, because he has spoken. She spoke. Amanda said she was not living with her brother. They lived about 9 minutes away from one another. So that information that came from the police is not accurate, allegedly. So she gave her testimony to why she came back to Georgia because of some issues with the apartment. And, he said, she said stuff about the job. She didn't feel like she was doing her best. But my thing is, well, if you're not doing your best at the job up there in Maryland, what makes me think you're going to move all the way to Georgia and do any better?
Exactly.
Because if you got mental problems, you're going to have mental problems in Georgia. That's not going to change because you left the job in Maryland and came to Georgia.
And being that she was the mother and helping her, whatever.
Yeah, that could be a reason.
The son must have said, you know what, Mom, I'm done. I'm done. You want to be, you want to baby her? I'm done. Mm-hmm. I love you, but I will love you from afar. Mm-hmm. And, and I don't think she cared at that point that she was blocked. I love my son. I'm going to tell him my daughter needs some money. This is what I have available. Let me just send it to her and be done with it. I'm done.
Yeah. And I told people to stop worrying about the amount of the money. That's maybe what she had in her Cash App.
Exactly.
I don't have to tell you why I sent my child almost $2,400.
Exactly. She didn't want to do it in front of her husband. Her husband, maybe they had a somewhat.
I don't think they had a good marriage.
Yeah.
I think everything was a farce between she and her husband. I think he's the type, he didn't talk very much.
Yeah.
She allegedly was vibrant, let the son tell it. So I think they were opposite. She was the happy-go-lucky person, put on the smile, the happy face, but yet she had the tears of a clown. You got this husband that probably didn't talk, engaged. They slept in different rooms. Yeah. I think it was something about sleep patterns or something. Who knows if that's the truth? Because nobody's just going to come out and tell a person the truth. Hey, we're not getting along. We're not going to divorce, but we're sleeping in separate bedrooms.
Yeah, I agree with you. He was probably an absent husband, probably a good man, but an absent husband, emotionally not available. We don't know. Maybe I don't know if she had family like a mother or father. We don't know if she, and even people who have those family support networks, even they do themselves in. We don't know. I just think the hydrocodone might have kept her off balance and made her fall. And I don't know. Maybe she did want such a violent way. It's just hard to imagine. Why not take some pills and go to sleep? I don't know. We're never going to know. And why did she not leave a note? Most people will leave some sort of a note. Unless you consider the Venmo her note. Like
I'm not taking another room with my husband. If I'm going to live in a house with a man and we're taking separate rooms, one of us need to go.
Yeah.
That's my theory. How other people choose to live, that's their business. But I'm not getting ready to be in a house with a man and we're sleeping in separate rooms. If that's the case, we're roommates. Then we need to set that as the standard.
It's just heartbreaking. It's hard because she seemed like such a sweet, kind soul. Maybe I don't know. It just my heart breaks for her. And how many people are out there going through that right now? Mm-hmm. And women, young people. It's just the violence of it. Just the violence. Men do it more violently. Women do it more passively. When they decide to kill themselves, it's just that this. Even Joe Morgan Scott on the NC Grace show, he says in his whole career, he's had maybe 3 of these cases where people set themselves on fire. Yeah. And, and he's been around.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll never know. I just hope she found the peace.
Yeah, because the dead's not going to tell us nothing.
No. But that hydrocodone, for some reason, you take an Excedrin PM, a couple of Excedrin PMs or Tylenol PM. You better get yourself right out of bed because you're going to fall asleep pretty quickly. We don't know how much of this medication she took. Maybe she thought I can control it. And then she started to get weak on her feet, fell on whatever the source was. If there was liquid gasoline in there or got on her clothes, she didn't have the wherewithal or the dexterity to put itself out. She realized what she's done. Now she's holding on to a tree. And it must have happened so fast. So now if they didn't find the hydrocodone, I'd say, well, but that will impair your thought process.
Do you think she was addicted to the pills?
It's possible. A lot of people get.
Because it said, listen, it said intoxication, so that means she had to be.
Pardon?
They said it was hydrocodone intoxication.
Intoxication.
So that means she had a lot in her system. You know how much
Exactly.
you know how many pills you're supposed to take and not take.
Right. Totally agree. We don't know if she took the rest of the bottle. You know, we don't know. The thing that she's hanging on the tree makes me wonder, was she trying to
To
pull
get up, she probably was. She probably was trying to pull herself up.
Yes. But that fire must have consumed her so quickly. Poor
But that's
soul.
why it's a fire. However it went, that's a fire's job. It doesn't have to stop.
Yeah.
It's not human. It's not a dog. It's not an animal.
The paper towels that she bought was almost like to feed the fire.
That's why I told people you have to accept what she bought. I'm not in my logical mind 1.5 hour up. Oh, she's going to a game. And it's like, well, the dad didn't tell you that, and nobody in the family told you that. All you have to do is look at the stuff she bought. She bought stuff that you would set on fire.
Yes.
What am I doing with paper towels, a lighter, a tarp, and a bag?
Exactly.
For what? And the daughter even said, or the son even said, she's got tons of those bags at the house. She didn't need to go buy a bag, but she did.
But then why stop at Chick-fil-A too? You know what I mean?
I want to eat. I want to eat before I die. I don't know.
Ugh. See, it's so hard to get into that mindset. It's hard for the average.
I have no
person.
idea, because this is a weird story. And like I said, I think all these law enforcement officers, sheriffs, or whoever need to think before speaking. Just like with the case with Quentin, if you don't want to arrest a person, don't say nothing about them until you're ready to bring forth a charge, because it is stupid to bring forth a charge. Bring forth a name and a manner of death when you are not certain or sure or we're not going to do an arrest. Just don't say nothing.
Absolutely.
He messed up by saying, "Oh, it was targeted, intentional." Now you had to change it and say, "Oh, she killed herself."
And the part in the note where she says they won't let me go, it's almost like she wanted her family's attention to say, oh my gosh, somebody's got mom, and then it went crazy, it went sideways from there. I don't know. I think it was to look like a suicide.
She bought stuff, somebody in the chat, she bought stuff to make meth. Well, where's the meth then?
Yeah, where's the meth? She has no history of that, no arrests.
Nobody said anything about a pot boiling, no medicines.
Yeah, I think
don't you have to have cold medicine and different things to make meth?
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
They never said anything else was at the scene besides the item she bought from the dollar store.
Maybe it's all maybe. We'll never know. We'll never know for sure.
That's the thing.
So we just got to, pray for her soul, that she rests in peace and that she's not in any kind of pain anymore. Poor lady.
Bad, man.
And that's it, Queen. That's my 2 cents. I don't know. A lot of broken people in this world. A lot of broken people. We're all broken to some degree, but some more than others. If you're living on the earth, you're broken.
Yeah.
Just makes me sad that she thought that was her only way out. And I'm wondering too, again, I can't get away from the fact that the hydrocodone, it's like you're still going to feel pain.
Yeah, did I say oxy? I've been getting them mixed up.
Hydrocodone.
Hydrocodone. It's all the same to me. It's a drug, a pill.
Yeah, you're right.
She was taking something.
Yeah, she was taking something. I just wonder if she was going to go there, set a fire, just kind of sit for a while. Then the medicine got to her, and now it's too late. You know yourself. If you have too much to drink, sometimes you can barely stand. Because I've done it.
You gotta be real drunk when you can't stand up.
Yes. But we don't know how much medicine. We don't know.
Well, if they say she was intoxicated, that's their job. A coroner and a medical examiner. Medical examiner looked at the body. They know what they're doing. They probably know more what they're doing than the damn police
Yes.
If I look in your body and I can see you have a lot of pills inside of you, your bloodstream, then I'm going to read that finding. She was
She
intoxicated
was
with the
intoxicated.
pills.
And that makes me think that she just tried to stand up, tripped. There was leaves out
But
there.
look out, but look, she drove all the way up there. So I wonder, had she been taking the pills when she was driving?
It could be, but I have a feeling she sat there and took the pills all at
Well, she
once.
could have. She could have.
You know, and before you can blink, now you're feeling it. Oh my God, I need to get out of here. You stand up, you fall, now you're on fire. Now you're holding on to a tree, no one can hear you scream, and a plan went too far. My
Mm.
opinion, it means nothing. It's just my opinion, because it's just so violent. It's just so violent. I remember when I was younger, a little girl, I made my parents think that I ran away, and I didn't come back for hours and hours and hours. It was dark. And my poor parents, I was going to teach them a lesson.
Why'd you do that?
Because my mom was very strict, and my dad, you sided with my mom at that age. Oh, you don't let me do anything, blah blah blah, you always blame me for everything. I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And the intention was to get away
Do you
from
remember? Do you remember how old you were?
about 12.
Okay.
Yeah. And the intention was to get away.
So let me
And
guess. You weren't in Florida. You were either what?
no,
New
I
York
was
or
in
Jersey?
Connecticut. I was in
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Okay. I
We
hear
lived.
East Coast accents. I knew it wasn't Florida.
Yes, no. We lived in the heart of Yale University. Yale University is a city unto itself, and there was a lot of old buildings there, old alleyways, and I stayed there for hours and hours and hours because I was going to teach them a lesson. I was going to make them think I was kidnapped.
Yeah.
It was for the grace of God that nobody in downtown New Haven did anything to me. I was a cute little 12-year-old. It was the grace of God. I didn't think that far. I didn't think that far ahead. She probably didn't think I'm going to lose my mobility and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fall in the fire. I'm going to teach them a lesson. I'm going to let them miss me. I don't know. It's just based on
Well,
my
let's talk about the
experience.
son. Now that the
Yeah.
finding has been ruled, he thinks his mother was murdered. I wonder, is he going to now publicly speak and say still he doesn't agree with the finding?
We'll have to wait and see, but I think a lot of that might be maybe some guilt, maybe that he didn't get to say goodbye to his mother, that maybe that was the last words he had with her was like, Mom, you're going to take her in? I'm done. I love you, but I'm done. I can't be part of this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blocking you because, I get a feeling that she must have called him so many times. Oh, your sister this, and now she wants to do this, and now she's moving back, and I don't want her boyfriend. And
Well,
it
he probably
seems
was. He probably was calling her too, because you got to remember he lived up there where she was. So I won't doubt that he had
right.
some type of communications with his sister while he was. They lived in the same area, so
We'll never know, but hopefully he'll come out and make some sort of statement. I don't see it. He seems like he just wants to move on. If anything, the daughter might make a statement. But it's just a very sad. This is life. This is life. Somebody once said to me, "Dying is easy. It's living that's hard."
mm-hmm.
We don't know. I just hope she found some peace with God. Or just because it seemed like she had a tortured existence, at least towards the end. And you hate to see anybody in any kind of emotional pain.
Yes, Gigi says a cry for attention that backfired.
That's exactly what I thought. She used the correct words. A cry for attention that backfired. Yes. If she didn't take the hydrocodone, I think she would have had a better chance. But the fact that she's holding onto a limb, it's like, oh my God, oh my God. Now she doesn't have the strength to get up because, when you're drinking or you're intoxicated, you're heavy.
And then one would say, well, why would I be trying to get up if I was trying to kill myself?
Well, because of the pain. The pain. I don't think she was trying to kill herself.
Okay.
Your person in the chat said it perfectly. A cry for
Well, then what
attention.
actually happened? Because they say the accelerant was on her clothes. Remnants of a gas can was under the car. I brought you all that information. Remnants of a can was, I believe, left behind that possibly could have burned down there, but yet there was no wood burning fire. So what actually happened? What was the intent on that Saturday to go an hour and a half out of the way under the influence of these drugs and go in the middle of the forest to do what exactly?
I think she wanted to get her family's attention. Mom is missing.
So she poured gas on her clothes, knowing
See,
that
I
would
don't
set her on
believe that.
fire.
I believe she
They said,
felt
listen, it's in the report.
right. No. I believe she had gas on her clothes. I'm not.
Okay, but why would I say gas on my clothes if I'm gonna do it accidentally? Anybody knows as soon as it hits a flame, the whole damn body and the outfit's gonna go in flames.
All right, so that might have happened. It might have had a back. What do they call when a back splash or fire?
Yeah.
When it comes back to you, that might have happened.
That's the part that makes me think that she did try to kill herself, because you know what gasoline and fire are gonna do once they.
Oh no, Queen! There's some videos on YouTube of people starting fires for barbecues and stuff that put accelerant in the charcoal.
No, that's not what we're talking about, though. They said it was on her clothes, sweetheart.
Then
I'm not talking about her building a fire. Listen to what I'm saying. If I'm going to do something to make it look like something else, and I intend to live, I can't see putting an accelerant on my clothes, because anything that touches that outfit with the gas, you know damn well I'm going to blow up. Why would I think I'm going to live?
I'm trying to
That
get
makes
over.
no sense. They said she put an accelerant on her clothes. That's why they knew she had done that, because the gas can, remnants of the gas can, was found underneath the car. Now, how the hell did that get up onto the car? See, that's the part where it looks like she did try to kill herself, because I'm not going to put gasoline on myself and just assume I ain't getting ready to blow up. That makes no sense.
It's just such a violent way that it's hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah. If they had left that part out, I might could just say, well, she planned this to make it look like an accident. But nobody's going to foolishly put gasoline on their own damn clothes, not thinking that all of their body is going to be immersed in flames. That makes no logical sense to me. I'm thinking logically as far as putting the gas on my clothes, not even being high on the dope, not trying to set it up to look like a suicide, not even if I want to kill myself. Who's to say, yeah, that's how she wanted to go. You ain't got to like it. I ain't got to like it. But maybe she wanted to kill herself by gasoline. But it's on her clothes. They had a fire expert check her clothes. That's why they went back in to the scene to re-walk the scene.
And you don't think it's possible that she fell into the fire, therefore absorbing some of the...
What fire?
Well, there had to have been a fire for her to burn herself.
You're not listening.
No, I am. I understand.
You're not listening. They told you there is no wood burning fire.
No, but there was a paper towels.
With my gasoline on my clothes.
But I think she might have fallen into that source.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the gasoline on the clothes, though? Nothing.
Well, falling into a saturated pile of paper towels, it's going to transfer on your clothes.
Okay, but you don't want to believe that you put gasoline on her clothes.
No, I mean, I don't know. In the end, she's the only one who knows. I just find it hard to make that leap. Okay,
but then that means you're saying that the medical examiner and the fire expert are lying.
No, not at all. Not at all. They know
more.
But
listen to what I'm saying. No, but see, this is why I always tell you all, think first. Why would I set my own clothes with gasoline?
I don't think I think what happened is she fell into a fire that she started with gasoline and paper towels. Being intoxicated, she might have fallen into that fire.
And so let's go here then. Then where was the fire burning?
Near her, obviously. Near her.
So where did the gasoline come in then?
Well, I think she poured it.
She poured it where?
Into the paper towels and leaves and...
So she poured gasoline into a fire, of paper towels, and then she leaned over it. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I think her intoxication made it hard for her to steady herself at that point.
Okay, but still, but make it make sense. She's setting the paper towels on fire to do what? This is why I always tell you all, you got to think about what you're saying. I'm going to put paper towels down and set them on fire for what reason?
This is going to sound corny, and I don't mean it to. Maybe she just wanted to light a fire and sit by the fire. And that's when it went sideways. This is all speculation.
Okay, but I don't think you want to accept what they said. They told you her clothes had an accelerant on it. So what sense would it make for me to put gasoline on my clothes and then 2 light paper towels on fire and a tarp and a bag? Don't you think I would know the tarp, all that is going to smell the gasoline?
Well, what do you think the purpose of the tarp was? Do you think she was trying to inhale toxic fumes?
No.
Because I'm not sure where the tarp came in.
That's why I'm trying to make you understand. You can't just sit here and think the paper towels are just going to stay afloat. There's a reason why she bought all that stuff from the Dollar General. There was a reason for that. There's a reason that all those items were at the scene with her. Come on now. Like I told people, you want to put somebody else in the mix, but if I'm carjacking you, killing you, I'm not getting ready to take that stuff out of your car. For what? I don't care about that shit. It ain't even nothing worth carrying out of the car. If we're to believe that a second person was there. That's my point, Gigi. She bought that stuff for a reason. So think about it. She bought all this stuff that you could allegedly set on fire, and the fire expert says she has an accelerant on her clothes. You can't seem to put 2 and 2 together that she deliberately tried to set herself on fire.
But Queen, why is there no recordings of her buying gasoline and you know what I mean?
Girl, you better stop talking crazy now. People have gasoline in their car in case they run out of gas. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know.
You ain't got to see that she bought gasoline.
Yeah, maybe not that day, maybe a month.
She could have took the gasoline from her car and put it in the rental. Yeah. She had a rental for a while. She probably transferred it over, or she went and bought gas in a can. I don't know when she bought it, but they said remnants of a can. It could have been a plastic can. It was up underneath her van.
Well,
they don't have to. We don't have to see her on video buying gas.
And obviously, she had an intention of setting a fire because
that's where I'm trying to make you understand. Because somehow you just refuse to accept she had accelerant on her clothes. Why not?
Well, I don't refute that. I just refute.
Yes, you have. Since you've been talking, yes, you have.
I just wonder how it got there. Did she do it? Or
what you mean?
Or was
I'm not trying to be rude, but
no, that's fine, Queen.
You're not making no sense.
Believe me, I love the way your mind works.
There's a reason this took so long. You want me to believe a person that studies fires don't know that you put gasoline on your own damn clothes?
No, you're right.
You don't want to accept it because you don't want to accept that somebody set themselves on fire.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Well, if you can't accept that, then you can't accept the other stuff that they told you. That she was under the influence of hydrocodone or whatever.
Oh my God.
So basically what you're saying, she didn't kill herself. What you saying? Because she really can't have one without the other to say, well, she tried to stage it to look like she was hurt, but it went bad. That still don't knock off the gasoline on the clothes.
You're right. It's just hard to accept. It's just so sad. And the empathy for another human being makes me not want to.
She's in a rental car because her car was in the shop from an accident.
Yeah. She must have felt so alone, and it's just very sad. No, but I love the way your mind works.
Hit the link. You all down there chatting, talking about she didn't kill herself. Well, hit the link and tell the world why you think she didn't kill herself. Why she couldn't kill herself by setting herself on fire? Because you don't hear people killing themselves by fire. That don't mean a person wouldn't do it.
Queen, I will let someone else have a chance. I'll still be watching in the chat. And
right.
keep up your good work. You're amazing.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.
No mention of meth. Well, hit the link. They said the woman was taking pills. She was intoxicated on pills. No mention of meth. Why do I need to drive an hour and a half to smoke meth? And what do paper towels, a tarp, a bag have to do with me smoking meth? Please make me understand. Hit the link. She was still working. Kara, that makes no sense what you're saying. Because she hadn't been to work. See, you all aren't following the content of the story. She hadn't been to work. Her daughter told that on an interview last week. The mother had not been to work in a week. And people go to work all the time and still kill themselves. So that's not true. Well, that's the reason why I have the link up here, so you can stop chatting down in the chat. You can come up here and explain yourself instead of us sitting here reading text messages. I don't know what none of you mean. I'm just reading text messages in the chat. If you could hit the link, you could explain yourself thoroughly. I'm not going to sit here and just keep reading comments and I'm supposed to understand what you're saying. Well, the medical examiner has made his or her ruling, and that is that. You're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe about Debbie Collier. I'm not about to sit here and argue about how somebody died in the middle of the wilderness. But for somebody to put accelerant on their clothes, that would lead me to believe that they intentionally wanted to set themselves on fire. Because whether I was high on pills, mentally disturbed, whatever, why am I going to put gasoline on my own damn shirt? For what reason would I have to do that? And if they don't have any information that somebody else was out there with her, as I've told you, when you decide to try to immerse another person into the crime, that person has to have a way to get out of there. And this place is off the beaten path. It's the wilderness. So how did they get out of there? You want me to believe they walked in the middle of the wilderness and walked back out? You didn't hear that she was robbed. You didn't hear that her credit cards or anything were missing. You didn't hear that her purse was missing. The car wasn't missing. Car door unlocked. Remnants under the car. A stranger's not going to put that under the car because he's not going to care. Or she's not going to care. Because what they're going to say is, nobody knows I'm out here with her. So I don't have to hide gas cans. I will read you the findings once, and then I'm out of here. Pertaining to the death of Debbie Collier. This is by nowhabersham.com. Debbie Collier died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and hydrocodone intoxication, says Habersham County Deputy Coroner Ken Franklin. I've read to you the different variations of inhalation. I brought you information pertaining to thermal injuries. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this video to get the said information pertaining to thermal injuries, how you can die from it, the risk, things that can cause the thermal injuries. It's at the beginning of this live. Daughter believes the mother killed herself. The brother did not. Last content I brought. Will he come forward to tell his side again that he doesn't believe that his mother killed himself? I don't know. When I get that said information, I'll bring it to you. The next time that this Miss Bearden decides to speak, I'll bring that information. If the husband decides to speak, I will bring that said information. But so far, there have been no other people brought forward as suspects into a crime, because now it is not deemed a murder nor a targeted murder. It is deemed a suicide by the state medical examiner of Georgia. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGandry 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Thank you so very much for following the content, subscribing. Thank you for all my new subscribers. God bless all of you. Have a safe weekend. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. This said information is by Habersham.com if you need verification. If you have a problem with the manner of death pertaining to Debbie Collier, I advise you to call the state medical examiner. He or she would gladly explain to you their findings, and also the fire expert who investigated this said crime. You all have a wonderful weekend. This is Everyday Shenanigans.